Welcome, everyone. This is the monthly worker proposal review for the 7 worker proposals that I own. And this is for January, and let's get rolling. So first off, and we do have a few of them that are quarterly, although I don't think it really matters at this stage since we kind of have all of the worker proposals going till the end of March. And obviously we'll be having discussions on kind of how that changes. Even though they're quarterly, I don't think it really matters. So dashboard, the core KPIs are FIO monthly FIO crypto handle registrations, net profit, and uptime. We have basically registered 60% less, fewer FIO crypto handles in January than we did in December. I think the primary reason for those is just the effectiveness of our marketing, as well as the fact that in December we also had a spike towards the end of December that is likely attributed to spam or some sort of an abuse that kind of upped the numbers a little bit for December. So those are the reasons. Net profit is actually improved, although it's kind of both good and bad, and improved primarily because we didn't spend our marketing dollars that we had allocated in January. So I'll talk about that in a second. And uptime was roughly unchanged, 100%. Overall budget on USD was in line, and on FIO Liquid was 9,000 below budget. And again, that's primarily because of the marketing dollars that were not spent. Website unique visitors, half of what we had in December, kind of the same story as I just talked about with the FIO crypto handles. The same for new dashboard accounts. Very similar to the FIO crypto handle stats. It's basically roughly half to 60% lower than we had previously. But that includes partner registrations, which are obviously not affected by what we're doing, but they're kind of lower by 43% as well. The gross profit for the FIO crypto handle in January was $2,200, which again kind of corresponds to fewer registrations being completed. Domain stats held a little better. So we had 74 domains registered in January. It also includes renewals, which actually were quite a big percentage of this. I probably will start splitting the renewals out so that we can kind of see those, because they represented a bigger percentage than previous months in January. I think it's partly because of kind of the product that we rolled out that enables you to add a domain with more than 1 month or 1 year of validity upfront. So I've seen quite a few of those registrations in there. Let's see, gross sales from the domains was $2,700, which corresponds gross profit of $1,300. You can see direct versus the affiliate. So we had some affiliate registrations of domains in not a lot, but still program's fairly new. So it's good to see that it's actually growing. And yeah, that's probably what it is. In terms of net profit, so the net profit was $3,500 in January compared to $7,000 in previous month. Again, that's primarily affected by the free FIO crypto handle registrations just discussed. The acquisition costs were $6,000 compared to $15,199 previously. So that was basically the primary impact of the net profit improvement, as we simply didn't spend the budget for marketing. Highlights of what we've done. In January, we've launched version 1.8 early in January. That was primarily just some admin enhancements on the back end and minor usability enhancements. The 1.9 release on the 26th was a bigger release. It included all the new branding. So we now have the branding to match the revised branding of the website. And we've also included, launched some landing pages and shopping redesigns, which are kind of built around this workflow where we no longer split the user and say, hey, do you want a Theo crypto handle or do you want a Theo domain? But we basically keep them in the same flow and pitch them both free Theo crypto handles, premium Theo crypto handles, as well as crypto handles on their own domains. So it's kind of a flow that I think better represents kind of solves for some of the confusion that we've seen in the past between Theo domains and Theo crypto handles. So that's been launched. MailChimp event tracking is also something we've launched where we're passing all of the activity to MailChimp. Although, as of this morning, MailChimp has shut down our account, which actually breaks our website because we require verification of email addresses to registration. So currently, as of this morning, the website for new users doesn't work because you can't verify your email because you're not getting the email verification. We suspect that's related to crypto, and I don't know if it's going to get unsolved here quickly or not. I've actually initiated a switch for transactional emails to AWS, which hopefully happens tomorrow. But that's just obscene that that's how they operate. They're like, they just pull the plug without saying anything, not even sending you an email. And so I don't know. We're likely going to dump them, but we'll see how it goes. And also included some usability enhancements, bug fixes, which is basically every release. February, we are currently working on streamlining registration and purchase flow. So as part of our usability testing that we've done a while back, there's just a lot of steps for the user to go through before they can actually register via crypto handle. That was primarily related to the non-custodial nature of the wallet and the fact that you have to really pay attention, because if you forget your password, then you lose access to your wallet. But we kind of eliminated some steps like PIN and the email verification actually, and hopefully that will streamline the checkout process as well for new users. And some backend admin enhancements as well and usability fixes. And we're currently redesigning the landing page after purchase. So that was the other part. Takeaway from the usability testing is the user, once they actually register the free Theo crypto handle, and obviously that's majority of the users, they're kind of dropped on this screen that they kind of don't know what to do. It's like, okay, I have the Theo crypto handle, what should I do next? So we're actually going to build some better pages to lead them down the path of mapping your Theo crypto handle to public addresses, or using Theo requests, or getting a domain, or getting tokens, things like that. So that's it for product and marketing. Ash, I'll let you kind of give an update on the marketing side, and let me know. It looks like you have more than one slide, so let me know when you want me to move forward.
Sure. Yeah, I only have a couple slides here. The first slide, I just wanted to break out some of the marketing spend, and this is a little tricky to do because, we have a marketing budget within the dashboard budget. That's this first column, 20,941 in total, and then we plan against that. And then in terms of what we were actually able to accomplish in January, especially when it comes to paid media, we weren't able to spend against what we had planned. So that will be carrying over to February. So I did my best to kind of show that broken out view here, but this will speak to a bit about why we didn't spend our full marketing budget. From a perspective of ops, technology, and some of our media spend, we were right on target. The last couple of line items here, we were planning in January to launch a $3,000 test campaign with Persona. They manage airdrop NFT campaigns to help build brand awareness, and that was built out to be focused on driving, engagement with wrapped domains, awareness around and engagement with wrapped domains. And we did end up getting that launched, but right at the end of the month, and we're phasing that test campaign a bit. So we got phase 1 launched on January 30th. The dependency there was that we were waiting for the most recent dashboard version 1.9, I think it was, to go live, which it did go live on Thursday, the 26th. So we launched immediately the next Monday, but of course that was, the second to last day of the month. So total spent there was only 525. We did have 3,000 budgeted, so we'll be carrying over that 25 or that 2475 into February. And then in terms of paid media with Cryptoken, we were planning to launch Twitter ads campaign as well. There was also a dependency there on the launch of the most recent dashboard iteration, which again launched on January 26th. We were scheduled to go live on January 30th alongside, the rest of our wrap domain promotion and our persona campaign. But we have been running into a need to re-verify our Twitter ads account, or our ads account rather, with Twitter. Our account was verified as of the end of December. I think Twitter's just been kind of going through a lot of changes over there, and we've had to go through the re-verification process again. That is complete, and we are hoping to launch that media campaign this week. So there is a carryover of budget there as well. The total amount spent was about 9,400. So the remaining budget will be carrying over into February, and we'll be launching the next phase of our persona campaign, and then also that Twitter ads spend with Cryptoken. You can jump to the next slide, Pavo, unless there's anything you want to add.
No, you got it.
All right, so January highlights, kind of spoke to this a bit in terms of paid media that was pushed to the end of the month. And then, we ran into some issues again with the Twitter ads campaign. So a lot of that's going to be carrying over into February. But our large focus in January was putting all of the pieces in place, getting all the assets prepared for launch of promotion against wrap domains, which did go live on January 30th. We were also heavily focused on, continuing to fine tune our email campaigns, especially from a perspective of audience segmentation based on engagement. So in-cart activity and behavior, purchase or non-purchase activity, et cetera. Those campaigns did see an increase in users to site month over month by about 53%. As Pavo mentioned, however, we are now up against a pretty unfortunate hurdle right now with MailChimp. So we'll see how that shakes out. The good news is we do have our full audiences for both our marketing like master list and also our dashboard list exported. So we won't lose our contacts, but whether or not we're able to continue running with MailChimp is kind of yet to be determined. They have a history of sometimes just randomly shutting down cryptocurrency companies. So we'll see what we can work out with them. January was also, this is kind of peripheral to dashboard, but I think it's still relevant, focused on optimizing our marketing site, our refreshed marketing site. We did a lot of CTA testing. All of those CTAs direct to the dashboard in some capacity, be that the dashboard homepage or the dashboard's domain specific landing page. And with that optimization, one of the events we're tracking in Google Analytics is actual clicks through to the dashboard. And with those optimizations of CTA messaging, we did see an increase of about 104% of clicks to the dashboard. Volume still kind of low, 165 versus 520, but generally speaking, the optimizations are moving us in the right direction. And then, as I mentioned, phase 1 of our persona test campaign did launch on January 30th. Initial performance has not been fantastic. So let me explain what this campaign has entailed a little bit. Essentially airdropping like a Theo promotional NFT we started with 5,000 or so wallets that were kind of hand curated by Persona based on their wallet activity. So we targeted wallets who also hold ENS domains and unstoppable domains, and airdrop them, this promotional NFT. And then we tracked clicks, and then that, of course, through to registrations, be that via crypto handle or domains, through to revenue. On the click side, we saw click-through rate was pretty low, about 3%. I would need to confirm like actual numbers at this point. Again, this is going to bleed over into February, but I think the context is important. Maybe about 150 or so clicks. From a revenue perspective, I think we saw maybe one FIO crypto handle registration. So of course, that is not what we were hoping for. So in terms of phase 2, we're working with Persona to revise our wallet list for the next round of the airdrop. We're going to go after wallets who hold Galaxy NFTs, much higher activity, much higher transaction activity. And then we're also going to be working with them to test out a Twitter audience. They have a bunch of high activity wallet addresses, NFT activity wallet addresses that they've mapped to actual Twitter accounts. So we're going to test targeting against that audience as well with Twitter ads. This next phase, they're going to cover for free because the performance of phase 1, which we spent about $500 on, was not that great. So the next phase, we'll see how it works out, but we won't really be paying into it unless it is very successful. And then of course we'll scale against it. So stay tuned in that regard. Moving into February, I think I've already kind of hit on all of these. Focusing on our Twitter ads test campaigns, we're going to have a campaign focused on driving free FIO crypto handle registration and one on driving domains. I'm going to see, which one is the more efficient use of spend. Again, that should go live this week unless something else explodes in the meantime. We're also going to launch OpenSea collection promotion. So we did get our OpenSea collection live last month. So we will be launching specific promotion for the actual wrap domains that are listed on OpenSea. Some of the ideas or some of the tactics we'll be experimenting with, dynamic creative that highlight the specific domains that are available for purchase. And then, as I mentioned, phase 2 of the Persona test campaign. And I think that's about it. We'll continue with our, standard social media promotion, blog promotion, hopefully email promotion too, depending on how things shake out with MailChimp. Anything else to add from your end, Pavo?
Thank you, Ash. Well, the one thing I just want to add is a little bit kind of higher level, especially given that we are going to have budget discussions with the steering committee kicking off tomorrow. And obviously we, about 3-4 months ago, whenever we approved the last budgets, we kind of had hopes for being able to spend media dollars to actually attract new users to the website. And obviously we are still continuing things like Ash just mentioned, but from my perspective, they basically have not seen any ability to profitably acquire new users to the dashboard over the last 3 months. And we'll see how those other campaigns where we still have planned performed, but so far it's been pretty disappointing. We had some traction with our existing users, especially early on when we started to email regularly our email list. That kind of contributed to some of the activity we've seen, and we kind of continue to see most of our activity on the dashboard coming from basically our existing users, whether it's social media users or the mail list. But we're really struggling with being able to reach new users that haven't heard about FIO, convince them about FIO, and actually get them to engage. And that's been pretty disappointing overall. But that's what I wanted to add. Any questions on the dashboard before we move on to other worker proposals?
You covered the number of users to the site. That was my question, but I was curious, do you have like any conversion rates for those users, or I see you have clicks, but
from those users from the marketing campaigns that Ash is mentioning here, or overall users?
I mean, just in general, just kind of wondering, when we get someone to the site, to the dashboard, what's the likelihood they're going to purchase something? I'm just kind of curious if we're tracking those numbers and if they're going in a good direction or not, kind of a deal with the improvements you mentioned and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, I was actually looking at the UV to buy conversion, but I don't have that number in front of me because it's not really honestly been that big of a focus for me, because conversion optimization really matters if you have a lot of users on your side, and unfortunately we don't. So I do have it. I can send it to you offline, but I just don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know that way back in the day on the dashboard project, the whole reason for it was for that, essentially, like, because we just didn't have a way to track anything happening in our partner wallets. And now we have the data, so we can actually say, hey, we spent X amount of money, we sent someone to the site, this percentage, clicked through and bought something, and therefore we can scale or not scale and all that. I'm wondering if it's sounding like we're feeling like we don't have a whole lot of opportunities to just get more eyeballs on the site. Like, I'm just wondering if we need to bring in a consultant or somebody that does crypto marketing. I mean, I get bombarded constantly with people claiming that they can bring users, but just wondering if that's something you guys have thought about.
Yeah, the conversion is obviously, I would say that overall conversion on the users that are coming to the website is not bad, but in terms of cost of acquisition, it cannot. We're so far off with everything that I've seen so far. That it's just, we can't do this profitably, right? And we're going to spend $100 on acquisition and we're going to make $20 on it, right? So we're going to lose 80, basically speaking, right? So so that's the primary challenge, is basically the mismatch of the cost of acquisition with the revenue generated from the transactions. So in terms
Okay,
of
thanks.
consultants or any other, Ash, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you kind of spoke to this a bit, Pavo, earlier when you mentioned the challenge that we're running into in terms of expanding our reach. I really think we need to get Twitter ads live. It's, crypto Twitter is one of the most active communities on social, and it will help us amplify our reach, 100-fold effectively. Beyond that, I mean, we've tested display, we've tested YouTube pre-rolls, we've tested paid search, and the user acquisition cost was just extraordinarily high across all of those channels. The main kind of channel left to test in terms of traditional, I guess, paid media, digital media, is paid social, sponsored posts, which is what we're trying to get live. We need Twitter to keep our account verified to run on Twitter ads. So again, hoping to launch that campaign this week. Looks like everything's set up. I think, Pavo, you and I just need to maybe sync on final testing of the pixel placement. But beyond that, hopefully everything will go live over the next day or two, and that'll kind of be our next main area of testing. I think Persona is a good example of kind of trying to branch outside a little bit. And even that, we just haven't seen. Fortunately, we've only spent like $500, but we just have not seen any sort of revenue that would help offset, the actual cost. We're struggling against that ROI piece, especially because the revenue actually generated is so low. So.
And Ash, there's a question from Wayne. What about PR strategies to get featured in major crypto news outlets and podcasts?
I mean, so I think a good recent example is, we ran a sponsored post with Bitcoin.com in promotion of domain wrapping, and the actual traction, and that has an enormous reach. And we saw, a pretty decent amount of clicks through to not necessarily our dashboard, but also our, or not only our dashboard, but also our marketing site. But in terms of that translating through to revenue, we just haven't seen that traction. Same with the broader press release distribution and promotion. Again, Wrap Domains was launched at the end of the month, so there may be a latency that we'll see, impact trickle in, but at this point we're 2 weeks out, so it's growing increasingly unlikely. Possibly in general area we could test, Wayne, if you have some specific ideas of, I don't know, podcast partnerships or anything to that extent you think might be worth testing, definitely open. We do have that kind of leftover media budget to a certain extent that we've been carrying over month to month. So maybe that's something we can talk about on our BD marketing call this Thursday if we want to do some brainstorming against that.
All right, anything else on the dashboard side? All right, then moving on to wrapping. So wrapping, help now is finally out there. So that's great news. I know we've been reporting on that coming soon for the longest time, and we finally have it out there. So in terms of KPIs, we have average time to wrap via domain and token. I am not capturing that yet, although those numbers are actually looking pretty good. Probably takes about a minute to get the domain over to Polygon. So that's pretty good, I think. And in terms of average daily volume of wrapped FIO tokens, in January that was about $2,400. So not a lot of activity there. I think we haven't really started doing much of marketing in terms of the wrapped FIO. We've done a lot of some recent campaigns relating to the wrapping of domains, but nothing relating to wrapping of FIO tokens. So hopefully, Ash, I don't know, maybe you can give a quick update on the marketing of the wrapped FIO token.
Yeah, we're still pulling together assets to promote wrapped FIO. I mean, we've been really focused over the last week and maybe 2 weeks at this point, actually, on getting everything in place for CoinMarketCap when it comes to our wrapped FIO profile. That took a lot of back and forth with the CoinMarketCap team. As of, I think it was last Friday, all of the pieces are relatively in place, at least for wrapped FIO. Now we're struggling with some FIO profile issues, but now that that's in place, we're working on pulling together assets in terms of social promotion, blog promotion, updates to our knowledge base, etc. So it's in the queue. It's just a matter of finding the time to get everything pulled together and launched.
And in terms of volume, the last KPI is volume of FIO domains on NFT platforms. Fortunately, I think it's kind of similarly to our inability to reach kind of broader audiences. It's just there's not a single trade that has yet occurred. The foundation has listed a bunch of domains. There's probably about I think over 100 domains listed, if I'm not mistaken, last time I checked. On the OpenSea, a lot of them are kind of listed by pretty high numbers. I think like the highest listed domain is for like $4 million or something. So some of them are pretty crazy, but the foundation listed domains are I would say reasonable price. And I even experimented. I think the lowest I have listed for is like $43, which is like almost exactly the same cost as registering on chain, and still we haven't had much traction there. We just had a campaign yesterday, I think, email campaign is to start talking about OpenSea, so we'll see if there is any additional traction there. In terms of budget, we're right on budget here. So I talked about we launched Uniswap trading, OpenSea collection enhanced. I wrote a wrapping blog post on the technology. I think that's in queue to be released as well. And no major functionality work planned for February. Wayne, you want? I don't know if you can talk yet. You were saying you have something to say about wrapped FIO.
Yeah, I can. I had a follow-up call this morning with a project called Stably. Now, Stably is a fiat on-ramp, off-ramp. They've also been a stablecoin provider for many chains over the years, but they've launched a project called Stably Ramp. It's a fiat on-ramp. They partner with Prime Trust on this. And one of the things they're going to do next month is they're going to give us a free listing of wrapped FIO. And what that's going to allow users to do, anything that currently has liquidity on Uniswap and some other DEXs, they're going to provide the fiat on-ramp to where someone can pay with a bank account, pay with a card, buy a token, and then they handle the transfer of the tokens from their DEX partners to that person. So they're going to list wrapped FIO. So people will be able to buy wrapped FIO token using fiat on-ramp. And we've also talked about a dashboard placement for them to then direct their users that if they want to unwrap.
I think you muted yourself there, Wayne.
Sorry, I had a call coming in. All right. What was the last part you heard?
Yeah, we got it. So,
I think I
and do
kinda
they have
covered
a,
all
do
this
they have a
morning.
pretty, how big of a reach do they have? Wayne? Wayne, you there?
Looks like it might be muted again. I noticed that you added the wrap token contract and the Uniswap link to the knowledge base, which is linked to from the website token link on the menu. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. I was talking to Pablo earlier and noticed that when you search for it, it doesn't show up in Uniswap by default. So I think people have to manually add the contract. So it's great to have that there.
All right, moving on to contributors. KPIs are paid contributors, which is unchanged, 23. Contributor satisfaction we've not done a survey since September. Probably time to do one here soon. And uptime is roughly unchanged, and budget is roughly on budget. No major really work happening on contributor side in January, nor planned for February. Block Explorers is the next worker proposal. The Explorer count is the KPI, so still 2. The uptime is 100%. Back to fixed time, I still am not tracking it, but honestly, it's horrible. We get very little attention from both the US authority as well as blocks in terms of being able to do anything. Whatever it's, just small tweaks or bug fixes or whatever. So there is still a number of things that I'm tracking that that are not done, and I'm not even sure when they'll be done. Now, on the good side is we did actually come in under budget, which is kind of consistent with what we had the agreement with blocks before. But now we were able to actually secure a permanent reduction in the budget that goes to blocks from 5,000 to 1,000. So that's a quite substantial reduction, and it's an actual reduction versus previously it was a deferral. That's why I've been reporting the target still as the full $6,000. And we actually have to pay them that deferral in March, but going forward, we will be able to pay them only $1,000 permanently a month for hosting. So that's some good savings there. Our next one is Ledger app. We have the KPIs is basically availability of it in the store, in the Ledger Manager, so it is still available. Percent of on-chain actions are still 2, which is still only ability to send fiat tokens. And we were on budget, and we did actually submit the version 1.0, which includes the ability to do basically anything that the dashboard supports using the ledger. So staking, wrapping, fee requests, mappings, all of that is in that next version of the FIO app. And we have no idea when that's going to be approved. The vendor kind of thinks maybe 2 months. So we'll see. It's last time I think it's been more, but hopefully this is just an update as opposed to an initial version. So maybe it'll be faster, but I have no idea.
Pablo, on that, can you remind us what, if any, steps we could possibly take to get Ledger Live support? Someone asked me that last week, and I wasn't sure if what that process looks like.
Yeah, well, that's a business development effort. They don't necessarily have a like apply here and process. It's they kind of have their own black box process for deciding who to list. So I think that the best strategy there would be through business development efforts, try to reach someone at Ledger and convince them to actually enable FIO token in Ledger Live.
Hey guys, I'm back. I'll put that on my list. Try to find a good contact and see what we can talk to about it.
And David, I think we had a contact with Ledger at some point, correct?
We've had multiple contacts over the years. Go back and pull them out. I don't even know which of those are still there.
Yeah, and a lot of those were kind of muddled because they were kind of looking to us. Yeah, there was like a custody solution, right, David? That they were kind of looking to.
Some of them.
They wanted to be a customer basically, and so that was like a different discussion that kind of muddled the waters a little bit, if I remember correctly.
Yep. But I can go through my emails.
All right. And next one is Grafana. KPI site uptime. And it's been running, budget is 1750, right on budget. We actually, I was able to get, some reporting on TPIT, which has been helpful for some of the, graphs that I put together recently for our discussion tomorrow on revenue. And there's still one other report that I'm working on with Todd that would hopefully help us actually see revenue attribution from each partner. So for example, the kind of be able to say, okay, show me how much the foundation has made from each of those TPIDs by applying that 5%, 5% that goes to the foundation. So that's something I'm still working on. And the last one is steering committee. Board satisfaction is the one of the KPIs. I've never really was able to get to it. That's primarily on me. I should do that, especially now that we have the new board set up. So hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. Active worker proposals roughly unchanged and on budget. So that's it. Questions, comments on any of this? All right. Well, in this case, thanks so much, everyone.